last night was one of the best nights in television uh, in a while. And I'm not just talking about sports here. Phenomenal night of television, but this was part of it. Thunder-Celtics. Thunder win the game 118-112. The Boston Celtics shot 63 three-point attempts in this game. And again, like that's what they do. They live and die by the three. Um, like this game to me, I was more impressed with Oklahoma City. The fact that they were able to go on the road. Jalen Williams did not play in this game. Chet Holmgren had a really good game.
Yes, but part of that is because Kristaps Porzingis was not there for Boston.
Yeah, so good point.
So that allowed Isaiah Hartenstein and Chet Holmgren to have as good of games as they did.
And again, Boston still shot 63 three-point attempts. Well, yeah, that's absurd. So, by the way, real quickly, I'm going to throw this stat out there. So I looked this up the other day. Remember how, I forget, was it last week? Did I tell you this stat? The Warriors shot 31 threes a game in 2015, and the Nuggets now shoot 31 a game, which is the lowest in the league. Did I tell you that stat?
No.
Okay, well, there you go. There's one stat. The Warriors shot the most threes at 31 10 years ago. Now 31 is the least amount by the Nuggets. Here's the other one, Josh. So Houston, remember the 2016-2017 Rockets? That was the Rockets the year before they had Chris Paul. It was James Harden at the point guard. They shot on average 43 threes a game. That's an NBA record at this point. Boston is set to obliterate it because they are now on pace to shoot 48 threes a game.
It's crazy. Would they have shot that many if Porzingis was there? I don't know.
They probably would have shot more. I mean, well, let's be honest. Their philosophy is the same as the Cavs' philosophy. It's one dribble, one pass, and let it fly.
Oh, I don't know if that's totally the philosophy for the Cavs.
It is. We don't shoot the mid-range, barely, especially since we brought in DeAndre Hunter. We are not shooting mid-range shots.
No, I'm not saying we do mid-range shots, but I wouldn't say it's one dribble, one pass, and that's it.
I mean, that's what it is. It's a layup or a three. That's the new NBA.
Yeah, in general, yes. I think we rely a little more on ball movement, though, than you're giving us credit for.
That's fair. I'll give you it. I think the bottom line is, could this be a finals preview? Yes. I am worried a little bit about the fact that for the Thunder, like, they are so young. I just wonder, and I know the Lakers wouldn't have the size, but would they have enough to stop LeBron and Luka? Because, again, I would be inclined to take the Lakers if LeBron is healthy, because that would be the two best players in the series. As great as SGA is, as we talked about this last week, overall, I still take LeBron and Luka.
And I understand that. Totally. The West is so interesting because since LeBron has gotten injured, the Lakers have fallen from the 2 seed down to the 4 seed.
Yeah, we're going to talk about that here in a minute in regards to the standings and what it means for the West. I don't know if you heard last night in the post game, Chet Holmgren in an interview pretty much said, "Are we good now?" So they are hearing the talk. It's just historically, right? Like we sort of talked about this with the T-Wolves last year, where it was like Anthony Edwards can't really get a team to the finals, right? Like historically, that's never happened. Historically, these young teams like Oklahoma City, it takes a few years for them to get to the finals.
Right. But here's the thing. OKC's best opportunity to get to the finals is probably this season, because I think next season Houston's going to get better in some way.
Oh, I agree with that. And I think if Memphis adds another piece and John Morant stays, clean and stays good on the court, Jared Jackson just got hurt for them, which is a huge loss. And who knows what happens with Golden State? Maybe they retool. Steph and Jimmy Butler come back. Like, I don't know. Yeah, I mean the T-Wolves are a weird team. They're weird this year. Who knows what's going on because of the Julius Randle trade? Like if I'm Oklahoma City, let me ask you this: do you think they could beat Denver in a 7 game series? Because I feel like they can, but I don't know the answer to that question. Because as great as Shed and Harvenstein are, I don't know if they can stop Jokic. I really don't.
The problem, though, is like if you watch the game last night, the game was in Denver, and yet it looked like it was the Nuggets who were exhausted and gassed.
Yeah,
The
but I mean,
Timberwolves were fine.
and they are Jokic dependent, even though Jamal Murray does turn it on when the postseason occurs. He's been a very clutch player in the postseason, and he's somewhat of a bigger guard. SGA is just so talented. Now, I had a discussion with my buddy on this. My buddy thinks that Jalen Williams is a legit number 2 every single night. I
I
still don't know about that.
I want to agree with that statement. I really do. But
Like my question is, here's my thing, right? Is between SGA is your number 1. You got to know who your number 2 is in the hierarchy. I don't know if you can switch back and forth between, Chet Holmgren one night, Jalen Williams another night, especially with Holmgren's injury history.
well, I'm not 100% sure Jalen Williams is the number 2 because if he could consistently give you what we know he's capable of, like, 20 points and like 6 or 7 assists, I would say yes, he's the number 2, but he's missing that consistency, which gives that's part of my hesitancy with Oklahoma City. Like,
Yeah.
we know what we're gonna get with SGA, but I'm not always sure what I'm gonna get from Chet Holmgren. I'm
Here's
not.
the thing. I think they will kill whoever they play in the first round, which looks like it's probably going to be the Clippers or the Kings. Like I think that's a 4 or 5 game series. I think they obliterate them. I think it comes down to who the hell are they going to play in the second round? Is it going to be the Lakers? Is it going to be Golden State? Is it going to be Houston? Is it going to be Memphis? Like that to me will determine their ceiling because if they play the Lakers in the second round, even if they get by the Lakers, that will make the conference finals that much more difficult.
Yes. Any of those series would be great, honestly. OKC Houston would be fantastic. OKC Memphis, I think, would be fantastic. Um, Whereas in the Eastern Conference, if we do not get Cavs Celtics in the conference finals, we've been robbed, honestly.
So let me talk about this now as we move into this angle, right? So LeBron went down, so the Lakers are dropping. The Knicks have gone down, but I believe they're still the free seed. But Jalen Brunson being down is going to hurt them a little bit, obviously. Like the Pistons, the Bucks, and the Pacers are fighting for 4 versus 6. Is there a world where one of those teams jump up and take the Knicks spot and go to 3? Because that would be bad, in my opinion, for Cleveland.
Why is that?
Because we want the Knicks to play Boston. Because the Knicks are a very physical team. If Milwaukee played Boston, I'd be okay with it. But I think we want the Knicks. Like Milwaukee, outside of Giannis, they're not going to beat you up. Even if the Knicks can't compete that great with Boston, they will physically beat Boston up.
Okay, I get what you're saying. Totally. I do think Detroit, if they were to play the Knicks, or I'm sorry,
that would be the worst coached NBA. That would be the hardest watch. It's like the Knicks Cavs 2 years ago. Tom Thibodeau and JB Bickerstaff going against each other. Could you imagine those two defensive, tough-minded head coaches that don't use a bitch? I mean, the Pistons are a great story. The Knicks might be able to beat them without Jalen Brunson.
What I meant was, I think Detroit could have the same effect on Boston as in New York.
I don't know about that because I think Thibodeau is a better coach than JB Bickerstaff per se. But the Knicks, like, they do have a comfortable margin, right? So they're up 5.5 on Milwaukee, Indiana, and Detroit, who are all 18.5 back of each other for the 4, 5, and 6 seeds. So, the Knicks, they're 5.5 up. They're probably not going to leave that 3 seed. But I just wonder, like, if Jalen Brunson's not healthy for the rest of the regular season and he comes back and they got to play a Milwaukee or an Indiana in the first round, we already know what happened when they played Indiana when they all got hurt a year ago. We argued about it for 2 weeks on this show.
That's true. Indiana would be a great second round opponent for Boston. I think it would be a fantastic series, just like it was last year.
How about that play by Tyrese Haliburton the other night? For the record, it was a great shot. I thought it was the biggest travel in the history of traveling that wasn't called.
And Mad Dog Russo.
He did not take one dribble with the ball. He took about 4 steps without dribbling the ball. But nonetheless, the NBA said, who cares? And then he didn't get fouled for the record. He flopped on the ground and still got it. I was like, okay.
Yeah. It was a great play design.
It was. People were saying it was like a mesh concept in the NFL, where they just run cross field and man coverage. But
what?
I don't like when he gets all stressed and blood pressure goes up. He's a nice guy. Well, Granddaughter Josh is a nice guy, but that's kind of our job, is to get the other guy's blood pressure worked up.
Yeah, that is our thing. Look at this one. I never use that.
I don't remember this at all. I have no idea what this comment is, for the record.
Neither do I. I don't know what that's all about.
All right, so let's take it from the Lakers' perspective, though. So
they're playing the Bucks tonight in Milwaukee.
So if you look at the West, right, they've already dropped to the 4 seed. They are right there, though, with the Nuggets and Grizzlies. But they could even fall back further as to 5th. Like, they're only a half game up for 5th. So, to me, there's no way they could drop further than 5th unless they somehow lose a bunch of games and Golden State catches them. But I don't think that's likely that they would drop to 6th. So, I'm looking at this going, can you find a way, even if you don't get the 2 seed, can you find a way to avoid Oklahoma City till the Western Conference Finals?
That's what you gotta do.
Well, here though, let me ask you. I think this is the most interesting question in all of the NBA right now. If you're the Lakers, a theoretical second round series, if you get by whoever in the first round, who would you rather play? The team that you couldn't beat for the last 2 years in the Denver Nuggets, or by far the hottest team in your conference who's dominated the conference, but they're young, the Oklahoma City Thunder?
God, I don't know. By the way, Shams Charania is tweeting out that De'Aaron Fox is undergoing season-ending surgery for tendon damage in his left pinky. So
he's with now. Who cares? It's over for them.
Yeah.
Would love for them to somehow find a way to get Cooper Flagg, who injured himself, for the record today with Duke. That's a very interesting development in the NCAA tournament. But nonetheless, like, I think it's interesting, right? Because I watched that Lakers-Denver game a couple weeks ago, and it's like, LA may not have the size, but they may have the depth and they may have the skill ability to just outshoot Denver this time around.
Yeah. It'll be interesting. And we're in Memphis tomorrow. That's going to be tough.
My brother is actually there this weekend for a wedding. He's trying to get nosebleed seats to the game, actually.
That's fun. Donovan Mitchell's out for that game.
Oh, I did not know that.
Yep, he's out.
Is it rest or what's the diagnosis?
Groin.
Okay, so I think it's more rest than anything. Like, again, I think I was arguing this with you last week. I get it. They barely beat the Heat. They barely beat the Nets. To me, like, this is the way I look at it, Josh. The Cavaliers right now, and I think you can take a look at this for Oklahoma City, right? The Thunder have played 66 games. They're 54-12. So they have 16 games left. They are 12 games up on Memphis for the number 2 seed in the West. They can start resting people.
Yeah, they for sure can. I'll be at the game on Sunday against Orlando, which that game got moved up to 1 o'clock, and
yes, it did,
because it's on ABC. I think that says way more about us than it does Orlando.
Yeah, I agree. Let me throw this at you real quick, Josh. The Cavs have played 65 games. They're 55-10. They're 8.5 up on the Boston Celtics. I know we have a 15-game win streak going, but with only 17 games left, Boston down in the hole 8.5. Like, should we? Can I throw it out there? Should the Cavs start occasionally resting? Like maybe tomorrow night they say, Mitchell, your groin hurts a little bit, don't play. Mobley one night, don't play. Allen one night, don't play. Like we can start getting ready myself. There's no way at this point to me we lose the 1 seed.
I agree. I think you should start rushing guys. We do have that annoying Western Conference trip coming up